Okay, good morning everyone, and Hazak Baruch. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday morning. Hazak Baruch to today's sponsor. Today's class is sponsored anonymously for the success, for the refuah, for the protection, for the safety of all of Am Yisrael, for the release of the hostages. Be'ezrat Hashem, we should hear good news coming for them very soon, for the safety and protection of our soldiers, Be'ezrat Hashem, and really for the protection of all of Am Yisrael, both inside and outside of Eretz Yisrael. We need now more than ever, we need the protection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and He's always there. Lo yanum velo yishan shomer Yisrael, my friends. God does not sleep. When we are sleeping, He's awake, and He's awake, watching, protecting over us. And mi ka'amcha Yisrael, my friends, who is like the Jewish people? I'm sure you heard yesterday of this crazy story. There's a fellow from the synagogue. His name is Aaron Dahan. Young kid. He has a few coffee shops, Cafe Aron, all over the city, and a few of his baristas quit over the last few weeks because he was pro-Israel, because he's got the kidnap signs on his window, because he has an Israeli flag, and they thought they're going to punish him and quit and leave and make him lose business. Well, my friends, actually yesterday the store was jam-packed. Jews and Israel supporters flooded the store. They came out of the woodwork. They came to show support for his store and for really Am Yisrael and for the state of Israel and for the Jewish people. The lines were around the block. The lines were around the block. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. Okay? The news broadcasting stations came. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was something to see. And hopefully it continues, not just yesterday, hopefully it continues forever. But if you didn't go yet, or even if you did go, try to go today. Try to, again, grab a coffee, show support, get a taste, my friends, of victory. Okay? And what a beautiful thing to see. But you know what was so beautiful to me was that stores, other coffee shops that heard about this. Moto, he sent his own baristas, telling them, leave, go work for Cafe Aron. He doesn't have any employees, he doesn't have anyone to work. And he sent his own workers to go help another store, a competition of his. Could you imagine? Help his competition. This is Am Yisrael. This is the achdut. This is the beauty. This is the love that we have for each other. This is who we are. We're not people that take each other down, that we fight. Opposite. We help each other. We build each other. And pizza was sent from pizza stores down the block. People sent cups. People delivered. Volunteers came. They stood. They were mopping the floor. Business doctors, lawyers, people that had a regular job. They came. They literally started sweeping, doing whatever was needed to help the store. People waited online for hours, actually taking off of work, just to be able to stand on a line and to purchase a cup of coffee afterwards. But really, it was much more than coffee, my friends. It was really showing support for a Jew and for all of Jews and for all of Am Yisrael. Mi ke'amcha Yisrael, who is like the Jewish people, as the Post called it. It was a barista mitzvah, okay? Barista mitzvah. And as we say every morning, grab a coffee, be courageous, and grab a coffee. I didn't say those words. David HaMelech said those words. Kaveh el Hashem. Grab a cafe for God. Get a cafe, get a coffee. Vechazak ve'yamet lebecha. Be courageous, be strong. Ve'kafeh el Hashem, and grab another coffee. Okay, either way, here we go, my friends. Let's begin. Perashat Haye Sarah. And in our Perashah, of course, we are studying the story of the shidduch of a wife for Yitzchak. Avraham Avinu, Pasuk begins, please open, my friends, to chapter 24. And we're studying today, again, Ora Haim HaKadosh. Amazing, amazing lessons. Here we go. Hashem should bless our sponsor with all the blessings of the Torah, of health and happiness and success. Be'ezrat Hashem, Amen. Okay, my friends, chapter 24. Ve'avraham zaken ba bayamim v'Adonai berach et Avraham bakol. Avraham was old. Okay, was an understatement. He was very old. Well on in years. V'Adonai berach et Avraham bakol. And God now comes and blesses Avraham with a lot. Okay, He blesses him with everything. What exactly is this introduction? That he's old. Why does it need to tell us, right, that he was old and wealthy? And if he wasn't old and if he wasn't wealthy, then he wouldn't need to find a wife for Yitzchak. Explains the Ora Hayim, Shera'a atzmo zaken, since Abraham saw he was old. V'gam ra'ah, and he also saw ki higdil Hashem lehetiv imo b'chol tuv. It's both actually, one triggers the next. Because he's old, and he also sees that he's rich, so now there's a problem. If he was young, it would be okay. Or if he was old and poor, it would be okay. But because he's old and rich, it's a problem. What's the problem? He saw that this man Eliezer, who is in charge of everything, he has the keys, the passwords for all of Abraham's bank accounts. He sees how much Abraham owns. And he also sees that Abraham's an old man. You'll start wondering and thinking thoughts. What kind of thoughts? Abraham was worried that Eliezer would start, maybe, Lehasi bitol Yitzchak. He would start thinking that he's going to marry his daughter off to Yitzchak. Because Eliezer had a daughter. So my master's old, he has a lot of money. Let my daughter marry Prince. Let my daughter marry the son. And my daughter will be set for the rest of her life. Lazeh Amar, and therefore he said, Simna yadecha, I need you to now swear to me, Eliezer. And nitchakem lehashbiyo, and as the pasuk goes on to say, that he says, Eliezer, come here. I need you to swear to me that you will not what? Really, Abraham is trying to talk to him that you won't take your own daughter from my son. But what does he say? Hashbi'o bederech klal al Kanaani. He really makes him swear generally over the Kanaani people. Ve'oznav tishman hadavar, and Eliezer, when he hears this, hakol lo kol elav, he's really also talking to him. But Abraham wanted to spare Eliezer the embarrassment. He didn't want to say to his face, you're no good. He didn't want to say, you're cursed. He didn't want to say, my son's not marrying your type. He didn't want to say that. But it was something that had to be said. So he says it in a secretive, indirect way to spare him the embarrassment. He says, Eliezer, please promise me you won't take anyone from Canaan. Wink, hint, hint. And Eliezer on his own understood that Canaan is cursed and Yitzchak is Baruch. So first of all, what a lesson in sensitivity. In realizing that sometimes something needs to be said, but to think, how can we say it in the least embarrassing way, in the most sensitive way? Sometimes we want to speak to somebody who is single, and we want to tell them something, why they're single. We have our opinion. Well, you're single because of this, you're single because of that, or your marriage is not good because of this, or you're not, whatever, successful in business because of that. How sensitive we have to be, making sure not to hurt the feelings of the person, even though we're trying to convey a very important message. That is lesson number 1. Well, Abraham then continues, and he tells his servant, who's in charge of everything, please place your hand on my thigh, ve'ashpiacha, and make an oath to God, Elokei Hashemayim, heaven, a God of the heavens and God of the earth, asher lo tikach isha libni mebenot Kanaani, that you will not take a wife for my son from the Kanaani, from this land, that asher anochi yoshev bekirbo, amongst whom I dwell. And the Or HaHayim now comes and asks another question. Why is it important for Abraham to say that this is where he dwells? I think it's very clear. Everyone knows that he lives there. You don't have to say that. You don't have to say, please don't take anyone from here where I live. Just say, don't take anyone from here. What is Abraham doing by adding where I live? Asher anochi yoshev bekirbo. And look at this, the Or HaHayim comes and says, Lo ho'il ta'am shezeh baruch vehu arur. Because the reason that Abraham doesn't want is because he's blessed and Canaan is cursed. Remember, Canaan comes from Noach's son Ham. Noach had a son Ham, and Ham one day saw Noach unclothed. Remember when Noach was drunk and he was unclothed? And instead of covering his father, he told his brothers. And Noach cursed his son Ham, and he cursed specifically the son of Ham, Canaan. And he said that Canaan will be an Ivid, a servant forever. And Abraham from Shem is blessed. And Eliezer from Canaan, from Ham, is cursed. But one may wonder and say, it's true Canaan is cursed, but kvar yatsa me'arur, maybe he is no longer cursed. Why? Mitam she'amar hakatuv ve'yeh bracha. God told Abraham last week, you will be the source of blessing. Shekol mishpacha she'yeh Avraham betocha. Anywhere you go, Abraham will become blessed. And one may think and say, okay, so now that Abraham came to resettle in Canaan, maybe Canaan lost its curse. Maybe Canaan is now blessed. And therefore Abraham had to say, even though I live here, Asher anochi yoshev bekirbo, the curse is still not lifted. The Canaan people are still no longer worthy for my son. They're not okay. And therefore, please don't take a wife for Yitzchak from here. Amazing, amazing. How the Or HaHayim sees every word here, is trying to teach another idea, another lesson. Fine. Another idea. Fine. So Eliezer, continuing in the pasuk, makes a swear. Vayomer elav Ayad, he says, rather Abraham says, go to my hometown, go to where I was born, and find from there a wife for Yitzchak. Well, Eliezer says, what if she doesn't want to follow me? Should I take your son there? Vayomer Abraham says, do not take my son there. Hashem will help you. Hashem will bless you. He'll send his angel to help you in your mission. And if it doesn't succeed, if she doesn't want to follow you, then you are absolved of this oath. But please do not take my son there. Okay. Well, Eliezer now goes on this mission, the first matchmaker ever. He takes 10 camels, and filled with a lot of goods. And he starts heading to Abraham's birth town, Aram Naharaim, to the city of Nahor. Okay, so this is Aleppo area, and Eliezer starts going there to find a wife for Yitzchak. And look at this. Vayavrech Gemalim, and he starts making the camels kneel mechutz la'ir, outside of the town, near the well, towards the evening. Vayomar, and now Eliezer makes a prayer. Vayomar, Adonai Elohe Adoni Avraham, hakrena lefanai hayom. God of my master Avraham, please appear to me and arrange before me this day. Va'aseh chesed, and do a kindness with my master. And he makes a deal. He does a certain sign. You know, it's an interesting halachic question. Are you allowed to do this? You know, God, can I, could a person say, God, I'm not sure, I'm going out with this girl. If it rains tomorrow, then I'll take it as a sign that I should break up with her. Is that allowed? Are you allowed to make a sign in dating? A sign for anything. All right, if this happens, then I'll do this. If that happens, then I'll do that. And here Eliezer seems, this is one of the sources, he seems to be making a sign. He says, God, I want to do some type of test. If I go out, the first girl that I see, not the first girl, he says, the lady that I see, the first one that I ask to give me water, ve'amra shete, and she'll say, you take, and also your camels take, then she'll be the right one. He says, okay, God, this is the sign that I want. Now, Abraham never told him to make this sign. Abraham told him one condition: go to that land, go to where I was born. After that, take whoever. Eliezer on his own makes this whole thing, this whole strategy. Whoever gives me to drink, whoever gives my camels to drink. And some say it's not a good source for our question of can you make a sign in dating or in life? Because this wasn't so much a random sign. This is not like, will it rain? This is not arbitrary. This is a sign of chesed. This is seeing if she good midot. That's not a sign. That's not a mirror. That's not just random. That's content. That's character. That's something good. He's just basically saying if she has good midot, I'll take her. That's fine. It would be a problem if he said if she's wearing a green shirt. That maybe would have been much more random. Maybe that's not okay to do. So you have no source, proof from our source. But either way, he does this deal over here with God, where he stipulates that he wants this to be the girl that's proven for Yitzchak, specifically someone that's going to give him to drink and someone that's going to give his camels to drink. The question is, why did Eliezer have to pray for his mission to be a success when Avraham already prayed? Avraham one pasuk ago said, may Hashem bless you on your mission. Who does Eliezer think he is to pray again? Is Avraham's blessing not enough? Says the Or HaHayim, Batuach Haye Eliezer Badono. Eliezer for sure trusted in God, in Avraham's prayer. Shetfilato mekubelet. Avraham's prayer is more than enough. I don't need to add on to Avraham's prayer. If Avraham prayed, let the angel be sent with you, then that's it. That's enough. Vehosif, only what was he adding in his prayer? Hosif hu leitpalel sheyehu ra'ui la'asot hadavar al yado. Eliezer was praying, not that the mission should be successful, it will be successful, but let me be the messenger that it's successful through. Because sometimes in life, sometimes a prayer won't happen because of the middle person. That's a wild concept. But Or HaHayim is saying it, that sometimes it could be that you're supposed to marry someone, but maybe the matchmaker that you're using is no good. And Eliezer prayed, let me be the correct matchmaker. Let me be the one to be the broker. I want to have the zechut to be able to be part of this. A lot of times we are in between two people that get married, or we're in between someone who needs a job and a boss that hires them. And they come and say, thank you so much. And the truth is, we need to realize that if we were in between, that says something nice about us. Megalgelin zechut al yedei zakai. That good things happen through good people. And if we were used as a good intermediary, then it must be saying about us. We should feel good about ourselves. That I'm worthy to be a good middleman, a good in-betweener. Yeah, I should be proud. Baruch Hashem, I have some merit that God allowed me to have this mitzvah, this zechut, to be the broker of this deal. And Eliezer prays over here that he should as well be a good agent and a good broker to find someone for Yitzchak. So it's not will Yitzchak get married. The only question is who's going to be the one to set that up. And Eliezer prayed, let me be that person to set it up. Not because he wanted the money, not because he wanted the sharchanut money, he didn't want the gift. That's not why. He wanted to be in between because he knew that he was going to be part of history. You understand? To be part of history, my friends. Fine. And he continues and he says why Abraham needed this test, why Eliezer needed this test. Because if not for this test, if he just went straight to the hometown, maybe the person that's there would have a certain leverage on Eliezer. He would say, you just need someone from Abraham's family? Well, we're from Abraham's family. And you could take anyone, even a maidservant, even someone who's not good character. The only deal was that it should be someone from Abraham's family, and we're Abraham's family. So Eliezer does a deal to make sure that she also is a good person, that she has good midot. Okay. Well, what happens? As he comes into the town, remember, he's by a well. He kneels down. He must be very tired. He traveled very far. And he makes this prayer. The second he finishes the prayer, he takes his 3 steps back from the Amidah, so to speak. Ve'ine enters Rivka. Rivka comes out. And who is Rivka? The daughter of Betuel. Who is Ben Milcah. Who is Nahor. Ahi Avraham. Wow. Abraham's niece. Abraham's great niece. Ve'kada al shechma. And she has a jug of water on her shoulder. Ve'hanara tovat mareh. She's beautiful. Betula. She's a virgin. Ish lo yada'an. No one ever knew her. Vatered ha'ayna. She comes to draw water from the well. Vayarot ha'eved l'krata. Eliezer runs towards her. Vayomer. And he says, Hagmi'ini na me'at mai mikadech. Look at these words over here. Again, me and you, we see the words, beautiful, we move on. What did he say to her? Give me something to drink. Or Ayim says, pause, time out. What were his exact words? Hagmi'ini na. Give me to drink, but not to drink. Hagmi'i is a sip. Give me a sip and a little bit. Me'at. Why did Eliezer all of a sudden? Hinehim eat mashitna l'shol. Or Haye points out, Eliezer requested from her much less than he stipulated with God. In the deal that he made with God, he said, the lady that I tell, Hatina et kadech, ve'eshteh. He used the word drink, eshteh, which means to drink a lot. God, whoever will give me to drink. But when he comes to Rivka, he doesn't say, hey, can you give me to drink? He says, hey, can you give me a sip? Gemi'ah. He asked for much less. And not only that, but he said, me'at. A little bit to sip, even less than a sip. Gamlo amar shetatehi kada. He didn't even ask for her to tilt the jug into his mouth. That was also part of his original deal. Why? Says the Ora Hayim, Shera'a she'alu hamayim likrata. Because he saw the miracle that the water came up the well by itself. Our rabbis say this in the Midrash, and Eliezer saw something very magical about this woman. V'siman zeh muvhak. This was for him actually enough. And then he starts kicking himself. He says, oh no, but I made a deal. He shot himself in the foot, he realizes. Because right now he was sold. He was ready to give her the rings. He was done. But he couldn't give it to her because he already made a deal. Whoever's going to give me a drink. But what are you going to do? He started getting nervous about his conditions. What if she doesn't fulfill them? Doesn't matter if she fulfills them right now or not anymore. That's it. He found the right girl. He found the right girl. You know, sometimes in life, we go into dating, and we have a whole list of things that the girl must have. She must be this, she must be that. And then somehow or another, we fall in love with some random person, and so many of the things on the list are not there. And many times, even family members were like, you know, they're laughing. They're saying, wow, we always thought it had to be this type of family. It had to be from that community. They had to have this. You always wanted them to be that. And then they don't have any of that. But it doesn't matter, right? Because when you know, you know. You could want, but now you realize all those things were just wants. They weren't needs. But now you know and Eliezer knew she's the right one. But what are you going to do? You made all these stipulations. And therefore, what do you do? He started giving the minimal request from Rivka. Instead of drink, a sip. And instead of a lot, a little. And instead of tilted, to just give me. In order to make it as easy as possible for Rivka to keep the deal that he made with God. Now I see Eliezer, he's already sold on her. Unbelievable. Well, what does she say? Vatomer shete. She says, please, drink, Adoni, my master. Vatemaher, quickly. Vatoret kada, she lowers her jug. Aliyada, and gives him to drink by hand. Vatechal lehashkoto. She finishes to give him. Vatomer, and she says, Gam ligmalecha. Let me also give the camels. Exactly like he said in his deal. Ad im kilu lishtot, until they finish drinking. Vate'ar kada, she hurries, empties her jug into the trough, and she kept running to the well and draws water for the camels. And Eliezer cannot believe his luck. And the story continues. Who are you? She says, I'm Betuel's daughter. Who is this one? Basically, I am family to Yitzchak, to Avraham. And Eliezer right away realizes, wow, that was easy. Right? That was easy. Baruch Hashem. But I want to share with you this Ora Hayim over here. She says, Shete, please drink. And what is her response over here? Perush, he explains. Keneget she'amarta gmi'a me'at. You asked for a little bit to sip. So she says back, no. Shete, drink as much as you like, which is actually the word that he used with God. The word shete, she uses it. She didn't know he said it in his prayer, but that's the word that she uses. Veloshi ishtehu beyadon. By the way, Eliezer, don't drink you. He titrach, I'll hassle, I'll work, I'll give you, I'll exert myself. B'mitzvah, with the mitzvah lehashkot samel hamayim, to give you, a thirsty person, to drink. And she quickly lowers the kad, she lowers the jug, and she gives him to drink from the jug. Kedei shelo yitrachu, so that he shouldn't have to carry it. Okay, so look at her, look at the kindness of Rivka. Not only is she giving him to drink from the water that she drew, but she's happily willing to even pour it into his mouth. Now, why didn't she say right away, and I'll also give you your camels? Interesting question. She didn't say, yes, of course, I'll give you, and I'll give your camels. No, she didn't say that. She said, let me give you, of course. She gave him to drink. And the pasuk's very clear. When she finished giving him, then she gave the camels. And she said, I'll give the camels. So Ora Hayim notices the order. V'ta'am shelo amra, why didn't she say right away in the beginning, yes, I'll give you and I'll give the camels? Letosefet vatranut, to show her exceeding amount of kindness. She'im hayta makdemet, if she would have said, look at this, my friends, we could learn so much from this. If she would have said in the beginning, I'll give you and the camels, if she said that right away before Eliezer got a chance to drink, yesh makom lo lemaher, it would have happened that he would have maybe had to rush his drinking, because he knows that she's going to give me and my camels, and he would rush the meal, so to speak, because she also has the toil for the camels. Masha'en ken, but therefore she didn't want him to rush. She told him, drink, take your time. She didn't say anything. She didn't mention that she's going to give the camels. Because once she mentions camels, then a part of her thought, maybe Eliezer, because he's a good guy also, he's a mensch, he's not going to want to have to make me do too much work, so he's going to rush his drink. And if God didn't want to rush him, and therefore, drink as much as you want, take your time. And only after he was done, she said, okay, by the way, I'm also going to give you camels. You see how look at the righteousness. It reminds me actually of a beautiful story of these men, these group of men that were stuck somewhere for Shabbat. And they saw this big house. They heard of this fellow who was a big philanthropist, a big tzaddik, so to speak. Or at least so they heard. They stopped by his house, by the mansion for Shabbat. They knock on the door and they said to him, please, can we stay here for Shabbat? We don't have anywhere to go. We're stuck here. This very wealthy guy looks at them and he says, listen, I'm happy to host you, but it seems to me that you guys have money. You're not paupers. I'll let you stay. I'll let you eat, but I'm going to charge you for everything that you take. Whatever you want, I'm going to give you, but I'm keeping tab. And after Shabbat, I'm going to give you a bill. Yes or no? They said, okay, no problem. We have the money. You don't want to do us a chesed, then we can't demand it. No problem. The whole Shabbat, they sat, they ate, they drank, they ordered. They actually, because they were paying, they treated everyone around like they were waiters. How do you act in a restaurant? You act like a boss, right? You're not rude, but you feel confident to ask, can I get another wine? No problem. Give me another steak. I'm ordering. I'll order whatever I want. No one's doing me a favor. And the whole Shabbat, they were giving orders. More bread. Give me more wine. And the guy's watching. Anyways, Shabbat came, Shabbat ended. And they come to him. They had the most beautiful experience. Beautiful. They come to him and they say, okay, what's the bill? And he smiles and he gives him his hand. And they see the hand is empty. And he says, Shavua Tov, gentlemen. Have a wonderful week. They look at him, they're like, what do you mean? What are you not? He's like, we're not charging you. Shavua Tov. Like, I don't understand. So why'd you tell us you're charging us? He smiled and he said, if I would have told you from the beginning, come on in for free, I knew psychologically the whole time you're going to feel embarrassed. You're going to feel shy. You're not going to ask for seconds. You're not going to really want to take away from the wine selection that I have. You're going to take the cheap stuff. I wanted you guys to enjoy to the max. But of course, I'm not going to charge you a penny. Shavua Tov. And this is exactly what's going on over here with Rivka. She knows that if she tells Eliezer, I'm going to give you and the camels, then Eliezer is going to feel like he has to rush so he doesn't put too much stress on her. So she only says, you. And then he takes his time, he drinks, and then when he's done, she says, by the way, also let me give you camels. A beautiful lesson on how to be gracious, on how to do hospitality, how to do kindness, not to make the person that we're doing a kindness for feel like we are doing them a kindness. Sometimes you do someone a favor. You know, I was playing someone tennis the other day, and I played them many times. They always beat me. They're better than me. They always beat me. I finally beat them. And after I beat them, I won. They came, they said, you know, I just want you to know, I went, I was so happy, I ran, I gave them a hug. They're like, no, don't give me a hug. I want you to know I let you win. What do you mean you let me win? I let you win. I said, what do you mean you didn't let me win? No, let me tell you, I let you win because I wanted you to feel good. I said, listen, Rohi, if you want me to feel good, then it doesn't help me to tell me that you let me win. Because now I don't feel good. If you can let me win, then let me and don't tell me. Yeah? But either way, more importantly for life, when we do chesed, let us not make the person that we did chesed for feel like a beggar, feel like they need to rush. Okay. Well, one more, my friends, or two more. Let's see. Vatechal lehashkoto. So she gives him to drink. And when she's done, she says, okay, let me give you your camels. Hayat tzarich lomar, vaychal lishtot. Another question, Ora Hayim. What does it mean she finished to give him to drink? It should have said when he finished drinking. You see the difference? One is the focus on him, one's the focus on her. The pasuk focuses on her. When she finished giving him to drink. Nitkaven lomar, you know what it means? Shehaitai mekareh lamayim. That she was, like we said earlier, she was giving him. That's a simple explanation. She was the one pouring in his mouth. However, look at this, my friends. Hashesha alav. She was worried. Letzat shehaya ayef, because he was so tired, coming from the road. Sometimes when you eat too much, if you're very tired, if you're very weak, it could actually hurt you. After a fast, maybe sometimes you drink too fast, you eat too quickly, and actually it hurts. You got to do it in moderation. Unfortunately, after the Holocaust, the Jews that survived, many of them actually died right after because they were given an excess amount of food. Sometimes too much could hurt a person if they're not ready for it. And she was worried if she gives Eliezer too much to drink, So what did she do? She started calculating. How much does he need? She didn't want to add any more. Because maybe it's going to hurt you. So I'm not going to give you a lot. I'm going to give you just enough. Because the thirsty guy can't calculate. He's too thirsty. He's going to gobble it all up. But she's not thirsty. She could think logically. She could know. But look at this, my friends. But look at this. How do you know in life that your motives are true, are sincere? You know, Rivka is giving Eliezer only a little to drink. And someone who's watching this could say one of two things. Either she's giving him a little bit because more would hurt him, or maybe that's just a fake excuse. Maybe she's giving him a little bit because she's really just lazy. How do you know in life if you're legit? You know, you want to go to your friend's wedding, but you don't want to go, and your excuse that you give is, I can't go because it's probably not going to be a good wedding for me to be at. I'm too religious. It's going to be not appropriately, people dressed, or I don't want to go because, right? Sometimes we give wrong excuses. And really deep down, why don't we want to go to the wedding? We're just lazy. Ramchal speaks about this in his book, Mesilat Yesharim, and he says so many times the decisions that we make in life are driven by laziness. But we don't want to say that we're lazy, so we cover them up. We mask those decisions with a fake good answer. We're very good at this, at justifying, at rationalizing. We give a reason that's not a real reason, right? You tell a guy to take a girl out on a date, and really they don't want to go out because they're lazy, but they give you a bad reason. They say, no, I'm not going to take her out because I heard this and this and that. That's not a real reason. Come on, that's a fake reason. You're just lazy, right? How many times I convince someone to come to my class? Come learn. Oh, I can't have my grandma's cousin's birthday next week. What does that have to do with the class tonight? Well, one time I heard this real answer. I told the kid, come learn. He said, no, Rabbi, I can't make it tonight. It's winter soon. Real excuse, okay? I could write a book of excuses that I heard from why people can't do certain things. And in life, we all do it. But how do you know if your motivation, if your excuse is a real one, or if it's just a cover-up for something else that's really not a good reason? And Ramchal, the Gdolim always, by the way, you should know, they were always worried about this. A man once came to a rabbi to write him a letter of recommendation for his book. And the rabbi felt that he shouldn't write it because this man, he didn't know if this man was someone who was worthy of receiving haskama. But the rabbi himself was worried, maybe that's not the real reason. Maybe I'm just lazy, I don't want to write a letter. So you know what he did? He got rid of the lazy factor. I'll give you an example. This is what he did. Just think of the brilliancy of this. He wrote the letter. He wasted the 2 hours writing it. He wrote the email. And then he started calculating, okay, now let me see, should I press send? But he removed the factor of laziness. You understand? You following me, Zuri? He removed the factor of am I lazy or not? You want to go to a wedding. You're not sure if you should go. Maybe the guy's your close friend. Maybe he's not your close friend. Or maybe you're just lazy. So you know what you should do? Get dressed for the wedding. Get dressed. Now decide. Should I really go or not? But remove the element of laziness. They say a stipler, one time, he was very thirsty. I don't know if it's a story of him or someone else, but either way, he was very thirsty. Maybe Chazonish, he was very thirsty, middle of the night. He wakes up, he says, I need a drink of water. He said, what do I do? If I go to the sink, if I get a drink, and again, this story is not for us. This is a very high level story. He said, if I go to the sink to get a drink, I'm an animal. I'm giving in to my temptation of thirst. But maybe if I don't go, I'm lazy. I'm giving in to my laziness. You know what he did? He got up, he went to the sink, he said, I'm not lazy, and now I'm not drinking. And he went back to bed. My favorite story, okay? The Chazonish. And again, sometimes in life, our actions, our decisions are driven by the wrong motivation. And Rivka over here, she's wondering, maybe I'm going to help, maybe I'm going to give him to drink too much and he's going to get hurt. But is that a real reason, Rivka? Maybe that's just lazy and you're clothing it behind the excuse of just you don't want to hurt someone. You got to know if your motivations are legit. So you know what she says right after? To prove that she's not lazy. Amra, right? Gam ligmalecha. She says, by the way, I'm going to give right after you camels. And I'm not going to limit how much I give them. The camels take as much as they want. And therefore, from here, you can know, mister, I'm not lazy. Because if I was lazy, I wouldn't give them. I wouldn't give the camels. I'm happy to give. I'm going to keep giving. It's not about the laziness. It's right now out of concern for your own health. And we have to be honest with ourselves. So many times in life, someone comes and asks us for help. And we say, oh no, I don't want to help you. And we give some bad excuse like, I don't think it's the right thing for you to do. Is that really what we think? Or we just don't want to help and we're just lazy. We don't want to get up, right? There's so many things going on for Israel right now. So many ways that we could help. And we have to ask ourselves, are we doing? Are we helping? Are we showing up at rallies? Are we going to right? And sometimes we'll give, oh, I can't. I have a meeting. Okay. Is that the reason or is that an excuse? What happens if your meeting didn't exist? Would you go or would you just find another reason of why you can't go? We have to be honest. We have to always search ourselves. And Rivka says, don't worry. I'm not stopping because I'm lazy. I'm going to keep going after. But I'm stopping because I don't want to hurt you, Eliezer. Again, a very important lesson of checking our motivation for the things that we do. But there is one more explanation on this last bit over here, where he says, you know why she says, I'll give you a little bit and then I'll give the camels a lot? Because it's beautiful. The halacha is, the pasuk says, we say it every day in the Shema. Venatati esev besadecha libhemtecha. God says, I'm going to give pasture, I'm going to give grass for your animals. And then ve'achalta ve'savata, and then you will eat. Okay, so first the animals eat, and then you. And this is a halacha. Shetzarich adam, a person must give mazon lebehemto. A person has to give himself and then their animal. I'll give you a crazy halacha, wild halacha. If a person says Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, they say bracha, let's say shehakol niyav baro, and then they realize, one second, I didn't give my animals to drink. They're allowed to stop before they drink, before they eat the bread of hamotzi. Please give the animals to drink. Give the animals to eat. I didn't feed them lunch yet. And then take the bite of bread. Usually you're not allowed to talk. People don't know this. But once you say a bracha, you're not allowed to talk until you eat. Right away. You say a bracha, don't talk. You can't talk. People don't know this. They say a cup of tea. L'chaim, l'chaim, mazal tov. And then they drink. What are you doing? L'chaim, l'chaim, mazal tov. Those 4 words are not part of the bracha. The second you finish bidvaro, right away you got to drink. However, when it comes to feeding animals, I'm allowed to talk. That's how important it is that I feed my animals before I even feed myself. So the question here is, how did she give Eliezer before she gave the camels? You hear the question? Interesting question. So over here, Or HaChaim answers the question. Dafka de'en kan sakana. There's an exception. When the person's life is in danger, obviously, people come before animals. Therefore, Rivka over here, when he says, please give me to drink, she saw that he was very thirsty, that he was in a lot of pain. And therefore, this wasn't just, a regular drink. He needed this drink. He was very, 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 very thirsty. Therefore, she said, okay, I'm going to give you the drink. However, once she gave enough to take him out of thirsty mode, once he was no longer thirsty, now he was just a little bit thirsty. But he was out of the category of tsar, of in pain. Now that you're no longer in pain, now the halacha comes back into place. Now I got to go back and feed the camels, and then I go and feed you. Okay? So that's why she says, let me give you a little bit to take you out of the category of tsar. Then I'll go back to the halacha where I got to give the camels. And then when I'm done with the camels, I'll give you if you want more. Again, unbelievable. A lesson really of life. Where sometimes the halacha allows something. I have to do something. There's an exception. Someone's life is on the line. Or, I need to call Hatzalah. I'm a Hatzalah driver. I'm allowed to break Shabbat for someone's life. But sometimes, what happens is, once we've used the leniency, then we start getting a little bit carried away. We continue. And right? You're allowed to say Lashon Hara, maybe. It's not Lashon Hara. You're allowed to tell someone in dating a question that they have about dating. Someone who has a question about someone specific, and you have important information, you have to say it. But you have to say it. You don't have a right to now say everything. Sometimes we get carried away. And once the door opens, right, once we make a tiny hole, boom, we flood through and we do everything. Yeah, and his brother and his mom, and whoa, that's Lashon Hara. You can't share that information. You were asked about this kid, and only this kid. And by the way, the only thing you're allowed to say is what's needed to be heard exactly to the person that's asking. No one else could be listening to the conversation. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he was the rabbi of a yeshiva. And one time, his sister came, and her daughter was dating a boy in the yeshiva. So she said, "How's this boy? My daughter's dating him." Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach says, "He's a fine boy. Anyways, after the meeting, the sister left the house. She started heading back down the block. Her brother, Rav Shlomo Zalman, started running after her. 1 second, sister, 1 second. Yeah, what's going on? That boy you asked me about? I know I said it, but he's really not such a good kid. He's still not ready for marriage. Don't let your daughter continue dating him." Okay, thank you for telling me. But what changed? Just minutes ago in the house you said it was fine. Why now you changing your answer? Listen to what a gadol said. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said, in the house, when you asked me, my wife was listening, and she has no right to hear that information. For her, this is not letoilet. For her, this is not real. This is not halacha that she needs to know. This is not something that's relevant to her. And therefore, to her, I had to lie. I had to say, yeah, he's a good boy, because I knew she was listening. But me and you need to know. The kid's not ready for marriage. Unbelievable. This is, again, the sensitivity that we must have to halakha, to know that although sometimes the door is open for halakha, there's leniencies, there's exceptions. But the exception is only where the exception is supposed to be, and not an inch more. And the second she gives Eliezer to drink, enough to sustain him, boom, back to the camels. Beautiful. Finally, my friends, how many lessons we're learning of here? Finally, my friends, one last lesson. V'ha'ish mishta'ela, Eliezer, I'm amazed, and you're amazed, and we heard the story before. Imagine Eliezer in real time, how amazed he is. And he starts waiting, macharish, making himself silent to know whether Hashem made his journey successful or not. Asks the Ora Hayim, what was he waiting for? What else did he want to see? She said and she was done. She won. Here's the gold. You got the prize. Mazal tov. Mabruk. What more do you want to know? Right? What's he waiting for? Pasuk says he was waiting to see if she's the right one. What more do you want? She said, I'm going to give you camels. She said it. So look what he says. He was waiting for one thing. He says like this. Let's see it together. He says, since Eliezer sees how he was so successful, that this lady, Rivka, she said she would do even more than what he mentioned in his stipulation. He was anxious to relate to her what he was about to relate, that you'll be the wife for Yitzchak. For the stipulation that he made, he was done. And she said, drink, and I'll even drink for your camels. It's been fulfilled already. Since she said yes, and for the camels, she already got the 100. She passed the test. But look at this. Really, Eliezer should not have waited. However, he mashtik atzmo. This is the answer. You ready? This is the answer. Mashtik atzmo medaber ad sheyeda ma she'amra. He remained silent and refrained from speaking until he saw whether she would carry out what she said, even though it was not part of the condition. But when she said that she's going to give the camels, and till they finish drinking, even though this is not part of the stipulation. You know why? You know why he waited? Shema, now there was another problem. Nolad lo basafek, now there was a new doubt about a person. Some people in life, they're omrim me'ah harbe ve'osim me'at. Some people in life say a lot, but do a little bit. If she wouldn't have said much, that's great. She stuck to what I asked and she did it. But now she started promising the world, I'm going to give you and the camels a lot till they're done drinking. Now Eliezer's like, oh boy, maybe this girl is just a talker. Some people in life, they're talkers. You understand? Omrim harbe, they say a lot, but they do very little. A boy just came to me, he's crying. This matchmaker promised him, if you give me X amount of dollars, then I'm going to give you 4 dates a month. For sure, part of the condition, I'm going to give you 4 dates. I know a lot of girls, He believed her, he gave her the money. AWOL. Ghost. The kid got 2 contacts, one of them didn't even answer. The other one he didn't even go out with. No success. Some people in life, very big talkers. You got to be very careful. Eliezer was aware. Beware for talkers. Be very careful. If she didn't say anything, he would say Mabruk. But once she started talking a lot, actually it created more suspicion. Whoa, why is she talking so much? A lot of times people that talk a lot are actually empty. Ephron, he promised Abraham, the field, the land, Ala'eni, it's on the house for free. Take it. Take it. And what ended up happening? Eliezer charged him 400 shekel. Some people in life, I unfortunately am the recipient of this. Don't worry, Rabbi, please come. I'll take care of you. Okay, you go. No taking care. They give you nothing. They squeeze you. They do everything. And I'm sure it's not only me. I'm sure everyone here, unfortunately, has been the recipient of someone out there who says a lot, who promises a lot. But in life, don't be that type of person. And Eliezer knew, whoa, once Rivka's talking, now I have to worry. Maybe she's a talker. Because talkers in life, a lot of times you'll find talkers don't do. So he waited to see. And only when she finished doing what she actually said, he said, okay, she's real. She's not a talker. She actually keeps what she says. She's a woman to her word. Then he gave her the bracelets. All right, my friends. So these are some of the amazing, amazing lessons that we're learning from a beautiful, beautiful episode of Shadchanut between Eliezer and Rivka. We'll stop over here. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.